All right, so we're back here with Laura Brand, serial killer whisperer, and today we're going to probably dive back into Lawrence Bittaker. And I don't know if this is all Lawrence Bittaker, right? Not Norris at all. Okay, because you don't have any recordings of him. I keep remembering it.
No, he refused.
Exactly. So we're going to be listening to some Lawrence Bittaker recordings. They seem to be popular. People are requesting them, and she's got a lot of them. And but there's also something else going on, Laura. I think she has a little announcement to make. So
I do. So I just signed on to a major publisher for the Bittaker book, the long-awaited Bittaker book.
So exciting.
Yeah. So more details to come soon. The title is God's Not Here, Only Devils. For the book.
Okay. All right. So they're going to keep that title?
They are.
Oh, wow.
That was a title I pitched, and they're keeping it.
That's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's so awesome, Laura. I mean, you've been working. I mean, I know you've been doing a lot of this work for a long time, but I know you really wanted to get this book off the ground, and we, I mean, we thoroughly believe in you, obviously.
Oh my God, we're so excited for you. It's gonna be amazing.
So this is one of many, I'm sure. I mean, because you have so much information, and I think people really not only are interested in it, but they kind of need to know.
Yeah.
So But so that's awesome news, and I'm sure we'll have some more updates when you can when they're actually going to launch it, and we can kind of put that on the website and everything like that.
Definitely,
but that's great.
I think there needs to be a dismantling of death row too. Everything that kind of transpired, which you guys know, kind of.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely think that needs to be discussed in depth about what happened.
Oh yeah.
Because no one's talking about it. They just kind of brushed it under the table, which is so bizarre that no one has covered the fact that they shut down San Quentin.
That went down that you guys know about that we haven't even spoken about. I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
we'll have to.
I mean, there was one little thing. I don't even know if it was he was in San Quentin, but it was about that correctional officer that did that little cable show. Mm-hmm. Was he at San Quentin?
He was not at San Quentin. Actually, Rob and I speak to him often, but we're going to try to get him on the show, actually.
Okay. Yeah, he was interesting because he was talking about, because, did you see in New York, they had the correctional officers they're on strike in New York City. Oh, yeah. No, the governor, Catherine Hochul, is that Kathy Hochul? Hochul. She had to call in the National Guard to go to the prisons because they were all picketing.
See, I've been in the mountains for a week working on the book, so I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, that's going on. That went on today. I think it's been going on for a couple of days now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because of just a lot of what that other correctional officer said, the conditions and how they're just, they're awful conditions, and these guys are, they let these guys literally get away with murder on the inside, and it just.
I mean, yeah.
But that's not what happened at San Quentin.
No.
A lot happened at San Quentin. But
I'm sure a lot of that happened as well.
Mm-hmm.
Based upon.
But that's not why they closed it.
No. It was just I don't know why. I mean, well, that's anyway.
That's a whole nother episode.
It is. It's a whole nother episode.
Really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, well, this first one is like about 9 minutes. Or it's almost 10. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
I did listen to these before. So we're talking
about. Give us a headline.
We're talking about the audio tapes. I'm actually diving into why when he first started recording, which I'm actually surprised. I find out he started recording in his teenage years. He had a tape recorder.
Oh yeah, I think I remember you telling us that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Do you think a lot of these
call is being recorded?
Would you want to say?
I was going to say, I mean, do you think that a lot of these killers, when they're teenagers, that's really the formative years for them to kind of start?
I think even before the teenage years.
Really?
I mean, really, with the sexual, paraphilia, that's going to even start before the teenage years. Yeah. But I mean, it's going to, things get cemented in, during the teenage years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Like right at that puberty age.
Right.
Because that's what that's where all the confusion comes from.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you do not wish to be recorded, please disconnect at this time. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hey.
Hey, seems like medical staff is stealing my pain meds.
What?
Yeah, yesterday they only gave me one of the Tylenol 3s in the morning and noon. I'm supposed to get 2. An hour and a half ago, they brought the morning meds. They didn't even have any of the Tylenols. Said he was going to go bring it back later. An hour and a half ago. Something's going on. I don't know what it is. They're skimming the drug or something.
We should just ask for them again.
Huh?
Ask for them again.
Say again?
I said ask for them again.
Well, the med nurse only comes in to deliver meds 3 times a day. I got no access to them. Fortunately, my tier officer knows what I'm supposed to be doing, so I can probably get him. He's a real nice guy. Probably get him to do something. If he doesn't, I'll just go man down and make him take me over to the hospital.
It's so hard to listen sometimes
to him.
Just
trying to be human. Like you're not human. You're not human. He's not human.
Yeah.
But he's not. What he did to those girls, he's not human. And to listen to him, I don't have my Tylenol. I don't care.
It's pretty amazing.
I know.
How do you just? I mean, that's the thing. One of the reasons why we listen to that also is to just show what Laura has to go through in order to get the information that she wants to get from these people. It's just to listen to all of this crazy stuff all the time. And he sounds like, like a normal person. Like you don't know.
Right. Yeah. I remember that like one of our interviews, this is a face-to-face interview where he goes, I was just like, you need to go to the hospital. Like this is when he had cancer and he was like a skeleton. And I was like, you need to go to the hospital. And he was like, I'm so scared of needles. And I was like, you put ice picks through girls' ears. And I said it straight to him. And he said, he was like, I know I know. And I'm scared of needles. And he's like, maybe that's why I did it. And I was like,
no, you did it because you're evil.
Yeah. But yeah,
because he was evil.
I can't believe you said that to him, though. I can't believe you. Oh my God.
And then when you say that to him, what is his reaction? Like he
was like, "Yeah, maybe that's why I did it." He was like having like.
I know. He says, "Okay, at least he admitted it, not like serial killer X."
I mean, at that point, and at what point in your relationship was this recording done? I forgot to ask that question.
I don't remember what.
So you sound like really comfortable with each other, so it's got to be later on.
It might be, but I feel like I get comfortable with them quick. Like I usually go hard with them pretty quick. It's kind of like, hi.
Yeah, why waste your time?
Exactly.
You're a gunslinger.
Yeah.
Get in there.
And
it's hard to listen to.
They're falsifying the records and he's taking this stuff and, who are they going to believe? The staff if they give it to me or me not saying I didn't get it? Oh, well.
Yeah. I'm still I'm just blown away about the recording.
Say that again?
I'm still blown away about the recording.
I don't know why. Just nothing really unusual about it other than the fact that I'm got a recorder at such a young age.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't. I'm just surprised I didn't know that.
Well, a lot of things you don't know, I probably guess.
Well, you can tell me.
So, your voice is distorted for some reason.
I said you can tell me.
I could tell you things?
Yeah.
I'm better at answering questions and bringing other things up. I even stopped and thought about whether I should tell you about the drugs because it was unrelated to what we were talking about.
Oh, good
I'm
stuff.
not a blabbermouth. I just don't talk for absolutely no reason at all.
I know, it's just a huge key because when you look at the progression of everything, and then you find out there was like, you were doing this in teenage years, you start to really see like a psychological progression of stuff. You start to get like the bigger picture of everything.
I don't think I did, but whatever.
Well, you said you would play, like you record conversations, then play it back for the people, right?
It was just something that seemed like it might be fun, and it was to a certain extent.
Did people have
unusual because I had that at such a young age. If it had been later, this sort of thing probably never would have happened.
Do you think he's like playing coy? He's not connecting the two.
He's definitely playing coy.
I mean, because it's just like
it's the big key into your psychopathy, right?
Exactly.
Your paraphilia, really. I mean, yeah, if you're doing it in teenage years, you have a tape recorder, and he was saying, he tape recorded his girlfriend, his first girlfriend that he always talks about till he was, till death. That he was recording her, like she took him to church, and he tape recorded the church session, them making out. And then he would record just conversations like with people. And I was trying to explore that. Like, you don't see the connection. You don't see that there's a progression right here. And he's playing coy, obviously, because clearly there's a progression.
Yeah.
Until he does. Yeah.
I mean, because he sits there and he's like, pretends like he can't hear you. And then he answers your question right away.
And you're going to see actually a move I do next, or maybe not next, but coming up, but to try to build some common ground and relate to him.
But why do you think he was recording them? What was the reason for it?
We explore that a little bit more in the conversation.
Okay.
Like, why are you doing this type of thing? He doesn't really give too much of an answer. But obviously this is the start of his paraphilia. I mean, he's talking about when he was 16 years old doing, this is the start of it. And, why do we record anything?
Exactly.
That's the real question. Why do we record anything? And the real answer is, to keep it or to share it with others. And look at what he did.
Or not only to share, but to relive it.
Exactly.
I think it's more about that than share with the others. So he's sharing, continually kind of fantasize. I mean, can you imagine if he lived today and he was on, like he'd be using phones and maybe be crazy.
Oh yeah. Having like those
so
little
scary
recorders and stuff. Yeah.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That would be crazy. What's going on here? There we go.
So what, when you used to play it back for the people, did anyone ever get upset?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, fascinating. I said it's very fascinating.
Once more.
I said it's very fascinating.
Oh, fascinating?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know about fascinating. It's different.
Yeah.
Like I say, not many kids that age had a tape recorder, so they might be doing who knows what with it.
How did you get it? Was it a gift? Did you buy it?
I worked as a paper boy for a while, delivering papers. And they would take out so much and put it in a savings account. And when they paid me off each week or month or whatever, month probably. And eventually when they sort of fired me or just get too old or whatever it was, I had something over $100 in that account. So I just said, I was just preoccupied with the recorder at the time, so I went out and bought one.
Why did you want one?
I don't remember. I mean, we were talking about I'm 16 years old or something. I don't remember what I was thinking about in those days.
Right. And, it's also fascinating. What?
Didn't seem unreasonable. I had nothing, I guess, pressing onto my mind that I wanted elsewhere at the time or otherwise. So, never thought of it as a big thing other than, like I say, not many young kids had the tape recorder back in those days.
It's like
he's really trying to normalize himself.
That's what I was just gonna say.
You can see he worked a job.
Paperboy.
He bought it. He wanted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I ask him why, he's downplaying it. Like, I don't know. But it's like, you worked a job. You saved up for it. You wanted this specific thing. You wanted it. I mean, you worked hard.
What year was this? Probably around
60s.
No, before 50s. It would have been 50. Yeah, like 56.
50s.
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
He was born in 1940.
Mm-hmm.
So this is in the 50s. Nobody had tape recorders.
It was a novelty, yeah.
Yeah. So he saved up.
Where did he even think to get one? Like, where would that even come from?
I guess his soul is here. But what's interesting is I think he didn't really, I don't think he discovered what he could actually use it for until he started using it. He started using it and then like, oh, wow, I can spy on people.
Mm-hmm.
I can record them without them knowing. I could be doing something, kissing my girlfriend or being with my girlfriend and she won't know.
I have something that they don't know about. This is
exactly
like part of the deviance. Right here. And you hear him start to close up right here. You see how he gets kind of cagey, coyish, like, I don't know.
Right.
Where, you'll see my next move for this type of thing. Okay. When they start to do this type of nonsense, really.
Yeah, it's just, they're clamming up.
They're clamming up. This is where, you're like, okay, this is where I got to break down the walls a little bit.
Yeah.
And you'll see what I do for that.
Okay.
It's funny. No, I just had a thought. I had one as a little girl. Now that I think about it.
Say that again?
I had one as a child, as a little girl.
You had one?
Yeah, and it was a spy one. It was from a movie where she was like, I think she was like a kid detective or something, and I wanted one, and I got one. Yeah.
I'm not that weird.
It is funny when you look at your childhood and what you grow up.
You're pretty weird too.
I am weird.
Don't bother me any.
That is fun. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did the same thing. I actually used to record conversations because it had a extended mic, and I would go around and spy and record.
You should have made a shotgun mic.
Now I'm an adult doing the same thing as a private investigator.
You figured, yeah. You're just basically a nosy person, huh?
Yeah. It's true. What else?
Not questions or what?
No, never. Not with you. You're hiding stuff from me.
I'm not hiding anything. You ask anything you want, I'll try to answer it.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Pause and break.
Possibly some dirty or painful stuff.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say pause it right there. Well, you see how quickly I try.
Oh yeah. Like you became his buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I had one as a kid too. I actually did.
I'm sure you did. It was very authentic.
It was from Home Alone. Remember those Home Alone? Yeah, that was the one I had, and I was thinking back. I was like, oh, I had one too.
Yeah, that was in the 90s, and he's talking about the 50s.
Right. But I mean, it was a way to normalize it for him to say, you know what, it's I had one too. It's cool, And
then he was like, oh, so you were weird like me.
Exactly.
And you're like, yeah, I'm like you.
Yeah, I'm weird too.
I'm weird too.
that's really what you have to do with these guys. It's like, oh, that was you.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's you gotta create that rapport, and there's got to be a commonality. There's got to be a bridge.
So, I mean, it's so hard sometimes to find that common ground. Like, here I am trying to find common ground with him taking, like snuff film audio recordings. But it's like, how the hell do you do that? But I, bring it back to his childhood. He's talking about it when he had it at 16. I'm like, you know what I had when I was a kid too? I used to audio record. You have to like kind of bring it back to, ground level, like ground zero, when they're kids, and be like, okay, here's some commonality, and you've got to kind of build from that. As crazy or as weird as it seems, you got to kind of build from that childhood from there. So
and it's weird, like all the people that we've spoken to, the people and the serial killers that you're working with, and we had them on there. It's like when they start talking about their childhood, it's like their voices get very kind of in like a whisper. He gets very whispery, and he gets very meek.
Yeah.
There's a meekness to it, and I think
I've noticed that with all of them too. Yeah. And I'll ask a lot of them now too is what was your favorite fairy tale, or what was like your favorite childhood story?
Yeah. I know you said, and Alice in Wonderland, that's what got him going.
That's what got him, and I worked it with a lot of the others, and it actually has given me a lot of insight into the other ones too. I think with Ing, he was like, oh, the one where the two people fell in love and he murdered her. And I was like, okay.
You're like, oh yeah, you know it well.
But yeah, it's given me a lot of insight into a lot of them, because I mean, that's kind of like their first, thing as a child you remember back to.
Oh yeah.
So those
Absolutely.
type of questions into their childhood, they might seem like, even from the questionnaire, they might seem like basic questions, but it's really like, I'm trying to probe that childlike, mind, because that's where this is all starting from. This is yeah.
Oh yeah. And as a man, I mean, like they all do it. I mean, they're always like, we're always transported back to our childhood. Like you can have a reference, or you see something, or you see someone that looks like someone that you knew when you were little,
right?
Or something that kind of you didn't like, or triggered you, or something like that. You can easily be transported.
It's so true. And like the first chapter, my book with, when I sat down with Bittaker, what is called We're All Mad Here. And it's because I use that, technique of, I saw into his verbiage, and I got to see, it's Alice in Wonderland. And I started talking about Alice in Wonderland, and it broke him open. And I found out his favorite song was White Rabbit, just from like, diving into that. And that's not by accident. I mean, this is from his childhood. So I kept going. And actually, within this tape, you're going to see me with my next question. I start going with his childhood. And I go into something which we've actually talked about, the tool salesman that I've always tried to explore with him, that lived down the street from him.
Oh, yeah.
In Florida.
Yeah. That's.
But he says nothing happened.
He says nothing happened, but one of my letters to him, I said, did he ever sexually abuse you? And it was the first time he sent me pages and pages back. Like usually he just wrote like a paragraph or a page back. That was the first time when I said to him, I go, it's okay. I already know he sexually abused you.
Oh, okay. So
the first time I got pages and pages back from him. He's never admitted it, but just from his responses, and the response you're going to see in this next part actually says a lot.
Well, yeah, because I mean, that whole tool man,
right?
It's like, seriously, like he grew up with this pedophile tool man who had tools, and then he grows up to become the toolbox killer.
Right.
Like, it's just insane.
And why, out of everything in his childhood, like anytime we sat down talking about his childhood, he would bring this guy up. And it was just like, why do you keep bringing this guy up? Every single time. Yeah. But then downplaying him.
Inspired him to do some bad things.
That was the first time he just wrote me pages.
I can't remember if I asked you this question. If you ever asked, did you ever ask him if he was bisexual?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was, right?
Oh, yeah. I have tapes of him actually.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
talking about.
Sorry.
Didn't he have a
actually, you know what? I'll give you guys those tapes maybe next week. Where it was my first time. There's a recording where he goes, wow, you seem really surprised that I was bisexual. And I was like, I didn't know. And he was like, yeah. And he starts going all into it.
Interesting.
And he used to say to me, like, I would come in to San Quentin, as crazy as it seems, and he would say to me, LB, always rocking the LBD, like little black dress. And I would be like, what? And he'd be like, I read Cosmo. Like, yeah. He was a pretty
yeah, I mean, not many men know what the LBD is.
Yeah. Everyone's like, did he ever get creepy with you? And I'm like, he used to say to me, LBD.
Creepy, and every time he talked to you, yeah.
I always say to you, the French manicure. Like he was pretty bi, I would say.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think there's like 40 seconds left of this tape.
Yeah, this is where the toolbox.
Yeah. Try not to dislodge the plug when you get out of it.
Are you talking to me or somebody else?
Somebody mopping the floor.
Oh. Well, you know what else I always thought was fascinating was the neighbor you talk about when you were living in Florida.
Which neighbor? Kids on the street?
You said it was like a salesman down the street. Yeah, is that the one salesman?
I don't know what he did.
What do you remember about him?
Huh?
I said, what do you remember about him? I remember you mentioning a guy who lived down the ways from the motel, and he was the only neighbor. Really?
From the motel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lost here. We'll start over again. Where am I at? When am I at?
You're a child. You're at the motel in Florida.
Okay, I didn't know anybody. I knew there was a traveling tool salesman that lived in a big house across the street. I don't even remember ever having any conversations with him. I remember talking to his wife a couple of times. They weren't somebody I hung out with or anything.
How did you know what he did for work?
Because when I went over and visited one or two times, somehow became aware there was a lot of tools around. So I asked him, apparently, and found out. I just told him what he did for a living.
Was that,
Okay, I gotta go.
Okay.
Call you when I can. Tomorrow morning?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit a nerve with that.
A nerve. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you know who it is. The
I don't know
salesman.
what you're talking about. Oh,
No, you're talking. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's so strange because all right, so you would think that he would want to tell you so that he could blame why he did the things he did on that.
right. You would think, like, finally, and I said to, I talked to Dr. John White, because Bittaker had just started opening up about touching on the necrophilia subject right before he died. And I told this to John, and John was like, could you imagine if you had more time with him? And I was like, I know, if I had just had more time, like I was, it's like the onion, you're still unraveling it. And this was always the sorest subject with him, is because I brought up, this guy in Florida, I would go back to him constantly throughout the years.
Yeah, I've heard you ask him multiple times on many, many different recordings about him.
This is too weird, okay? From childhood, this guy was a traveling tool salesman, and then he's always like, I didn't know who he was.
Right.
Oh yeah, when I went over to the house,
I was over there a couple times.
Yeah, I was over there a couple times, but I never knew them. Right.
How old was he around that time?
God, he would have been pretty young. He would have been 8, 9, 10.
Ooh.
They were at that motel for.
So he grew up in a motel too. That's why he was so comfortable
Isn't that
living
crazy?
at the Scott Motel, because he grew up in.
I've always thought that too. Yeah, you grew up in a motel. Yep, and it actually looks a lot like the Scott Motel.
I was going to ask because those motels in Florida, they do look similar.
I actually do have a pic. He did give me a picture of the one in Florida. Yeah, it's crazy.
So if he was bi, why couldn't he just be bi or be gay or whatever? Who cares?
Different times back then.
Well, I mean, in the 70s, no one cared.
Well, you know what's weird is so when he got the cancer diagnosis, oh God, always gone. When he got the cancer diagnosis, I was like, he had called me and he's panicked and everything. And I was like, if there's anything you haven't told me, you got to tell me. We only have a short time. I'm flying out there, whatever. He had said to me, one of the first things, like he just started like spitting stuff out to me. And one of the things he spit out to me, he goes, I'm not really gay. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I just wanted to be liked. I just wanted to be liked. And I was like, so you engaged in that kind of behavior to be liked? And he was like, yeah. He was like, I'm attracted to women. He was like, but I wanted to be liked. That was like one of the first things he like spewed out to me. I can't even say the second thing, honestly on this channel.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me after.
You can tell. Yeah, you can tell.
I don't even know if you guys would really.
That's true. Maybe we don't want to.
Maybe we don't want to.
I don't think so.
That's true.
I don't even know. I honestly don't even know if I can put it in the book. It's that.
It's that bad.
That bad. Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sick and twisted. It'd be interesting if you had his brain and they could like.
Well, it's interesting that
figure out what the wiring is in that brain.
Do you think if he didn't have cancer, though, if he didn't have cancer, that he would be so forthcoming and knowing the immediacy,
already spewing stuff out. Even he gave up he gave up the bodies 2 years before cancer. You got to remember. So he was already like opening up. The cancer just kind of accelerated everything, but we only had from when he actually found out from the cancer, we only had 4 months together.
Wow.
I flew out there, we had like 4 months, but he was giving up everything even before that. He was finally had come to a place where he was ready to just talk and tell. And he had said to me, don't publish the book and everything until I die. And I said, fine. And then he actually wrote the foreword to the book too. Because he was just like, I think it's time for just the truth to finally come out. And, that's why he gave me the discovery and everything. And that's when, Pandora's box was opened with Knott's Berry Farm and Gretchen and just freaking everything from that time. Yeah.
It's just too bad we don't know who those victims are in Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah. Because, I had gotten like these documents. It was just kind of a storm all at once. Everything was like coming out, and then he got sick, and it just happened so fast with everything.
Can you do me a favor? Remember that piece of evidence you gave me with the Knott's Berry Farm? Can you send it to me again? Because I just realized that we have that one detective at sheriff's that we're working with right now. For the other.
Oh.
For the SUF thing.
I have multiple. I have it
Send me everything you have, and we'll see. He can go look for it because he's a homicide detective. The other person I sent it to is not a homicide detective. So.
Would he look into Gretchen as well?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Just realized that. What was his name again?
We have it.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to hear back if McEwen will talk to us.
Well, actually, you talked to him. Didn't he talk to you?
No, not yet.
Who did? Anyway, I'm spacing here.
We talked.
Yeah. So this next recording, what?
This is me calling him out a little bit.
Okay. Is it the same time period?
Yeah.
Okay.
This call is being recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, please disconnect at this time.
All right. Hey. All right. So here's my point. To say you guys going up the mountain and nothing was planned. Here's my whole thing. Like, you know how Roy, tells people like, oh, I was on drugs. I had no memory of the murders. Yes, he led the police to the bodies of the victims. Like, do you hear like how ridiculous he sounds to people?
Well, that's his story,
I know, but like,
maybe, I don't know.
Do you think it's ridiculous? Yes or no? Do you think it is?
Say that again?
Do you think it's ridiculous?
No, I know it's not true. It might make a decent defense if he's going to do it.
I know, but I'm saying as a person, hearing somebody say, "Oh, I was on drugs the whole time, but here are the victims, and here's where we put them."
The guy knew he wasn't doing that. At most, he might have a little grass once in a while, but certainly nothing else. If
I know.
Getting that doped up, I wouldn't even gotten involved with him. I'd just take him home and I'll see you later. I don't want to.
In your personal opinion, though, do you think? I know. Trust me, I know, but I'm saying, doesn't he sound ridiculous as a person to say that he has no memory, but then he leaves places with the bodies? Like, it's
I missed too much of that. What?
Here's my only point: is when Roy says that, he loses all credibility with everything. I mean, when you say that kind of statement, you lose all credibility. And when you say the murders weren't planned, I feel like you lose credibility. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, you and Roy went to mountains in April. Day before,
I'm a little confused on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to get him to flip on Roy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm actually using Roy as an example to say, doesn't he sound ridiculous? Okay, so doesn't it sound ridiculous when you went up there in April and nothing was planned?
Yeah.
I'm trying to circle, but he's
got it. You're trying to get him to say that they.
But he's not. He's too smart.
he's kind of like going, well, I guess that's a good defense, and I'm like,
yeah,
no, but like it's kind of ridiculous that saying nothing was planned and you guys were up there in April. But I'm trying to get him to say, okay, so if Roy sounds ridiculous, now let's go to you type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at these statements. I mean, Roy led him to the bodies. Roy is saying he was on drugs, and then he does admit, he goes, no, we were just on a little bit of grass. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, so let's go back to it. So nothing was planned, but you guys are up there in April. That's where I'm like kind of like leading.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, right. He's smart enough to
yeah, I guess he wasn't willing to divulge that at this point.
Yeah.
He's smart enough to just play dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I keep charging at him though.
Okay.
I'm missing too many of your words. The fidelity on this is wacky.
I said, you guys went into the mountains in April.
We did what?
You and Roy went up San Gabriel in April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
why?
Why? One reason was looking for a place to grow some grass. And I was familiar with that area, and so, okay, we'll take a drive out there. Over there is where I was in the youth camp. Used to run around here fighting bush fires. Place I was familiar with, so I'd show it to him and thinking about growing some grass.
Wow.
It also would serve as a place where subsequently happened. But then again, I could have found a place a lot closer to home. That one there was just, been there, done that. Okay, it's available. People act like we sat down in the morning before we went out and said, okay, we'll go here, we'll look for that, and we'll pick up that, we'll then do this, and then we'll go there. And, you know, none of that. We just go out and driving around. She said, well, hey, there's the next girl. We could pick her up or not. And then it's like,
so he's just saying it would just be spontaneous, and it was kind of like
it's not funny because it was spontaneous. So when they would drive around and they would pick a girl on the spot. So that's why it wasn't planned. It was spontaneous. That's it. Mm-hmm.
But they
already had the lock cut off.
It's all BS. This was all premeditated and planned.
Everything was premeditated. Just because you pick a girl on the spot doesn't mean that you didn't go and break the fire lock off of the thing in April. And now it's, July or August, and you're bringing a girl back up there.
Yeah.
That day, you just spontaneously said that girl. Doesn't mean, it's still planned.
It's just crazy how he managed to find Norris. They found each other, these two.
Yep.
And they did these horrifying things to just random girls, just random.
They had shootmen, while they're in CMC, they had a whole group there, which is in my book. You hear all the names of this group. And Jackson was out there with them too. It's scary. Like, you think, how could two of these guys find each other? But then you actually find out it's more than two.
Well, it's because they put them together.
Yeah.
But they still, even in prison, like, if you harm a child, if you're a pedophile, you're targeted in prison.
Right.
These guys still were able to find each other in prison, and get out together and, put these plans into formation, which is...
It's crazy. Like I said, that whole time period in Los Angeles was really, really scary.
Douglas Clark is like living
vortex of hell
open him, and he knows, the Hillside Stranglers and Alcalas at in the San Gabriel Mountains, and also at Knott's Berry Farm the same month that Bittaker and Norris are there. It's crazy.
All right, let's see what else you said.
It's amazing that he could sit here and try to spin this, that he just went up there to smoke weed.
Or to grow grass.
To grow weed, yeah. I mean, it's just insanity. And he thinks you're going to buy that? He knows
a picture of him cutting off the locks. I have the picture of him cutting off the locks. Yeah.
He took a picture of it.
Norris took the picture of
That's
him.
what I'm saying. They took a picture to... That's the thing that's so weird, too. Like, I mean, that's how he ends up getting caught, because he's recording everything, right?
Right.
That's how he ends up getting caught.
You would be surprised how many people, like when I did the Crime 360, I did over like 200 investigations. So many idiot killers would have, oh, do you own that gun? Did you ever fire a gun? No. And they go through his phone and he's got the murder weapon. He's just like going like this, taking a picture of himself.
So
it happens so many times.
Ridiculous. Yep.
And then a photograph clear enough where they can see the serial number.
It happens more.
The exact same caliber.
Wow.
Everything.
Yep.
But, it's just amazing how people, they just don't think, or they're not thinking, because they're just, I mean, I'm sure they weren't thinking. I think Bittaker was thinking. I don't think Norris was thinking. He was probably thinking, he was much more kind of a, in the moment guy. And then,
well, if you look at
Bittaker seems like he would be the one that kind of just plans things more.
Yeah. I mean, Bittaker was like just such a planner. I mean, Norris is why they got caught. They didn't find any evidence from Bittaker. All the evidence was found on Norris, which is scary to think, there's still that buried evidence from Bittaker, and he had the majority of it too.
Yeah.
And these roads, I mean, these were Bittaker's roads from his teenage years.
It's so scary up there.
Yeah. All right, almost done.
I'm innocently taking her home with no idea of doing anything at all. Next thing I know, I snatched her out of the passenger seat into the back. Then he's going to blame it on me later. He has no control over his impulses. He's just going to do things. So planning wouldn't be any good with him. Anyway.
That's it.
No.
Still there?
Yeah.
Got some more questions, Lindy?
I feel like you're blame shifting Roy right now.
Wait, a lot of times what I will do is like when they're spewing bullshit like that is I'll just get dead silent.
Oh yeah.
Trying to create the awkward space of like, I know you're bullshit. Just, yeah. Because it's just like, you know, psychologically, when, you know, someone stops talking, the other person tries to automatically, you know, fill the space. So when I know they're bullshit, you will hear me get dead quiet.
Yeah, I know. It's like your blink test. Who's going to blink first?
I'm just waiting for them to get one.
And he blinked first because he said, was that your question?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there is a lot of times where I'll get dead quiet because I'm just waiting for them to continue, and I'm just waiting for they say next. Yeah, and he goes next question. Yeah,
That's funny. All right, it looks like there's only a few seconds left of this. Let's see what the answer is.
He is blame shifting Roy.
he is.
Say that again. Who's blame shifting role?
Yeah.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What, I'm blaming him for him?
Yeah.
Well, but if he, okay, let's say this. Let's say I didn't know him, and he wasn't hanging around him. I didn't do it before that, so why would I do it if he wasn't around later on? He was out there with Joe Jackson doing stuff and getting caught. I wasn't involved in any of that. Why did you Joe? Because I wasn't available.
Did you ever hurt somebody before Roy?
Did I?
Yeah.
No.
Larry.
All right.
This call has been recorded.
Just lie.
What an interesting ending. Larry.
Yep.
Did he ever admit it?
What, that he hurt some? Oh yeah, I actually have it on tape. I do have it on tape.
Oh, I want to hear
But,
that.
you know, I knew he was lying because he paused.
Of course, we know he's lying. We know he
But
hurt
it's interesting.
people, but I didn't know if he ever admitted it.
Oh yeah, I have it on tape. We can play that next week. And do you see how quickly he throws Joe Jackson right under?
Oh yeah.
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 Because he wants to put. Does he really going to hang on to the fact that he's innocent? It's just so crazy.
Well,
you know, that's the thing. It's like
in one of my tapes, like
him, Douglas Clark. They all just like pretend they're innocent. You know, serial killer X. You got to give it to him. He admits it.
He actually,
He's like, I do it. I do it again.
Yeah.
Well, like he doesn't.
I should write like I encounter so many different types. Like I'll encounter a serial killer X, which I call a bragger. I should really like write them all out.
Well, wait, don't say that yet. I'm going to talk after.
Yeah.
Cut this part out.
Yeah.
All right. So next week, I want to hear him admit it.
Yes, you'll hear it. Yeah.
It's just amazing that he's going to blame Joe Jackson and Roy. They were doing it without him. Right? They didn't have that in common, all three of these people.
No, the prosecution. It was them. And it's just like, yeah.
Wow.
And then in another tape saying, you know, I was doing it before them.
What I loved is the tempo of his speech sped up when he started, like, he's switching to blame shifting those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was like, because he was like talking real slow and he goes, no. Then they did this. And then with Joe Jackson, it was like, you get like a burst of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, no way.
There to grow some grass. By the way, it was just, you know, Jackson and him. I'm like, Larry, you just sent me the picture of you cutting off the locks.
I know.
It's insane.
It's insane. And then I have the audio tape of him admitting 2 more victims.
All right, that's what we want to listen to. I want to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Laura, it's always a pleasure.
Exactly.
It's always
and
crazy.
Congratulations again on your book.
Yes, congratulations. We're so excited and proud of you. It's wonderful.
We'll give some updates soon.
Great.
Yeah. All right, till next week, Serial Killer Whisperer.